Hey you, and welcome to lesson 25. Today we are going to talk about the present simple and the present continuous. We are going to put them side by side and compare and see when do we use the present simple and when we should use the present continuous. We will also take a look at whose and who and how to use whose correctly. Last thing we'll do is talk about how to describe someone's appearance, and that will be everything for today, guys. Let's get to it. Welcome to lesson 25. Today we will start with stative verbs. What are stative verbs? Stative verbs are basically verbs that don't take the action form or the ing continuous form. They always come, mostly they come in the infinitive form without ing. Okay, let's see. Normally those verbs are associated with thinking and feeling, also with senses. So let's take a look at some of the most popular ones. Believe, dislike, know, like, love, hate, prefer, realize, recognize, remember, suppose, think, believe, understand, want, wish. Normally those verbs don't come in the ing form. Like for example, let's take the verb hate. You say someone, I hate you, you don't say I'm hating you. You say I want this, you don't say I'm wanting this. You say I believe you, we don't say I am believing you. So those are just verbs. Those verbs are just stative. They don't normally come in the ing form, okay? So let's take a look. Verbs are senses. Appear, feel, look, seem, smell, sound, taste. So those are the verbs associated with senses. Also, there are stative verbs. Now let's take a look at the present simple and the present continuous. And let's put them like side by side and see some of the main differences. We use the present simple to talk about things which are always true 100% of the time. You know, like facts, like scientific facts or any facts. Like I can say, for example, I can say water boils at 100 degrees. Water boils at 100 degrees. This is a scientific fact, so I'm using the present simple tense. If I say, for example, the sun rises from the east. The sun rises from the east. This is also present simple because it is a fact. It's 100% true. All right? Now, let's take a look at the present continuous. Things that are happening at the moment of speaking. Water is boiling now. The water is boiling now. So you use the present simple to talk about a fact or something that is 100% true, and you use the present continuous to talk about something that is happening at the moment of speaking. Okay, let's take a look at the other use for the present simple. Permanent situations or nearly permanent, true for a few years. Okay, so in other words, long-term things. Things that you normally take a long term to happen, they don't change over a short period of time. Things that take a while. Like for example, I work at this office, or I live in this city, or those things that, that those are permanent or almost permanent or long-term things. They don't change every day. Like not every day you're going to move to a new city or move to a new country. So if you move somewhere, you're probably going to be there for a long time. So long-term actions are associated with the present simple. Now let's take a look at the present continuous. Temporary situations. Temporary situations. That means some things that are happening on shorter basis, short term and not long term. Julie is living in Paris for a few months. Julie is living in Paris for a few months. normally, so she doesn't live in Paris. If I say Julie lives in Paris, that means she moved to Paris. She lives there. But if I say she's living there for a few months, it means she just for a temporary period, but normally she lives in London. Julie lives in London, but she is in Paris for a few months. So temporary situations. Okay? Now, I am getting better and better at speaking English. This is changing situations. We also use the present continuous. So we use the present continuous for temporary situations, things that are happening on short-term basis, or we use them for things that are changing, like the kids are growing, or my English is getting better. Okay, things that are changing. I am improving. You know, things that are changing or growing, we use the present continuous. Let's take a look at another reason. Habits or things that we do regularly. So routine, basically things that we always do. Like I drink coffee every morning. I wake up early. I go to sleep late. Things that are your habits or your routine. I take a shower first thing every morning. So anything that it is in your habit or in your routine, then you use the present simple. Now for the present continuous, temporary or new habits. Temporary or new habits. Like I'm drinking too much coffee these days because I am so busy at work. I'm drinking too much coffee these days because I am so busy at work. So this is a temporary habit. Annoying habits usually with always. So annoying habits that they're not good for you, normally used with always. Like for example, my flatmate is always leaving the kitchen a mess, or my daughter is always crying in the middle of the night. So those are temporary, annoying habits. We use them with always. So temporary habits, like I'm drinking a lot of coffee lately at work, or habits that are annoying. We use the ing form of the verb with always. Okay, future events which are part of a timetable. Okay, so if it's according to a schedule or a timetable, we always use the present simple, such as my plane leaves at 8 tonight. So we use the present simple to say what time the plane will leave later on tonight, to talk about the future, because it's according to a timetable. Or we can say, my train arrives at 6. My train arrives at 6. It is scheduled to arrive at 6. So anything that is on a timetable or following a schedule, we use the present simple. To talk about the future after certain words. So when, until, after, before, as soon as, we use the present simple. I'll call you when I get home, or I'll call you as soon as I get home. After these expressions, or after these words like when, until, after, before, as soon as, we use the present simple. Definite future plans. In other words, arrangements. So we use this for arrangement. Definite future plans. It means you use the present continuous if you are talking about something that you have already planned and it's confirmed and it's an arrangement. So, for example, I'm leaving to Mexico next week. Or, okay, so if I say I'm leaving to Mexico next week, that means I already booked a hotel, I already bought the tickets. It's an arrangement. I already confirmed it. Or I'm having lunch after my meeting. I'm having lunch after my meeting. So we use the present continuous to talk about future arrangement. Let's see. Next use for the present simple. Okay, just so you won't get confused, this is still the simple and this is still the continuous. Okay, so to talk about what happens in books, plays, and films. At the end of the book, the detective catches the killer. At the end of the book, the detective catches the killer. So if we're talking about what happens in a book or in a play or in a movie or in a TV show, we use the present simple. As for the present continuous, to talk about people in pictures and photos. Okay, so when we're showing someone a photo and like, my mother is walking beside the lake. My mother is walking beside the lake. So we are explaining things on a photo to someone, and we use the present continuous. All right, now let's take a look at whose. Now, whose is a question word. If I ask this question, or if the question starts with whose, that means I want to know who does it belong to, who owns it. Possession, I'm asking about the possession. Who owns it? Who does it belong to? Okay, like for example, whose book is this? This is Emma's book. This is not my book. This is his book or her book. So I want to know who owns this thing. Right? Whose is a question word. We use whose to ask a question about possession. Whose birthday is it today? Whose house was used in the film Gosford Park? Whose are these gloves? So whose, if you want to know who owns what we're talking about. Don't confuse whose with whose. Yes, they are both pronounced the same, they're written differently, and they are completely different in meaning. Okay, so let's take a look. We have here whose, and here we have whose. What is the difference? The first one, whose, is a question word. It is used for possession. The second one, it's a contraction of who and is. Who is. So we contract it with the apostrophe and the S. So you can see who apostrophe S. That means this is not one word. These are two words combined into one word using the apostrophe. So who is used for people, whose is used for possession. Like for example, I say, whose car is this? Then I want to know who owns this car. But if I say, who's taking you to the party? Who's taking you to the party? That means I want to know who is going to take you to the party. I want to know the person who is going to drive you or give you a ride to the party. Okay, now let's take a look. Whose is a noun. We form the question by adding an auxiliary plus a subject after it. Singular subject, whose car is this? Plural subject, whose books are these? Both are correct. You can use it with single and plural. Note that we use yes or no in the answer. We don't use yes or no because yes and no questions are auxiliary questions. So with whose, we can't say yes or no because any question that starts with a question word is not a yes or no question. Yes or no question are auxiliary question. Like for example, if I say, do you like your job? You say yes or no because do is an auxiliary. But if I say, who got you the job? Who got you the job? Then in this case, I have to say, Tim got me the job, Natasha got me the job. I need to give a person's name, the one who got me the job. Or I can say, I found the job on the internet, or I found the ad on Facebook. You know, you need to give like a real answer. It's not a yes or no. So any question that starts with an auxiliary is a yes or no question. Any question starts with a question word, whose and who included, then it is a real question that needs a real answer. All right, let's see a little passage about describing somebody. Somebody's physical characteristics. Characteristics is, you know, your physical characteristics is how tall are you, how heavy are you, how do you look, basically. Those are your physical characteristics. So let's read this following passage about physical characteristics. My grandfather, Jack, is of a medium height. He is in his early 70s, but he looks extremely young for his age. He is slim and he has got short gray hair. My grandfather's face is round and friendly looking. He has small blue eyes and an expression full of kindness. He tends to wear casual clothes like jeans, t-shirt, and which add to his youthful appearance. All right, let's take a look at some of those words. So first we started with how tall he is, because that is the first thing people notice about you, is how tall or not tall you are, right? So we say, my grandfather Jack is medium height. So medium height, it means in the middle. Short if he is less than average. Tall is if he is above average. Okay, then you say he is in his early 70s. So then we describe their age. So early, it means in the first part of his 70s. Late, it means in the last part of the decade. So okay, what is a decade? A decade is 10 years. So you have decade. This is a decade. A decade is a period of 10 years. So early, it means the first part of the decade or the first part of the 10 years. Middle is the middle part of the 10 years. And then late is the end part of the 10 years. So if you say someone is in his early 20s, that means they're between 21 to 23. If you say someone is in their mid-30s, that means they are between 34 and 37. If you say someone is in their late 30s, that means they are between 37 to 40, or 37, 39. 37, 38, 39 is late, 35, 36, 34 is mid, 31, 32, 33 is early. Okay, so the first 3 years is early, second 3 years is mid, the last 3 years is late. So he is in his early 70s. So between 71 and 73, right? He looks extremely young. So you can say he looks extremely young or he is young looking. Then we described slim, his body. So you have slim, you have chubby, which is a little bit fat, and then you have fat, and you have obese, that is really fat, and then slim, skinny are like both the same. Slim or skinny is, slim is nicer to say than skinny. Just like, you know, it's rude to say fat. It's nicer to say like big boned or a bit chubby instead of saying if calling someone's fat. Okay, so describe the body second. And then, or you can also say he's muscular, he's athletic, he's fit, or you can say he's jacked. If you say someone is jacked, it means they are just full of muscles, like, you know, like bodybuilder type of a person. Grandfather, okay, then you say short gray hair. Okay, so hair is characteristic. You have short, you have medium, you have long. You have short hair, you have medium hair, and you have long hair. Okay, and then you say the color, black, brown, gray, blonde, red, whatever color hair the person has. And then you say, so you always start with the length of the hair, then the color of the hair. Always length first, length, then color. Okay, so we always start with the length, then the color of the hair. Round and friendly looking. So round, this is his face. So you have people, they have round face or they have oval face. This is an oval face. It shapes like an egg, or you have like a triangle face. People with triangle face or like this. Okay, I'm really bad at drawing, so I'm gonna stop trying. Okay, so then you go to the eyes. So you either have small eyes, you have large eyes, you have beautiful eyes, you have blue eyes, you have brown eyes. Okay, if you mention the size and the color, then always first the size, then the color. He has big brown eyes, so small blue eyes. So for eyes, you start with the with the size, and then you go to the color. All right, and then expression full of kindness, he tends to wear casual clothes. So clothes, you have casual clothes and you have formal clothes. Casual clothes is the way you wear on your everyday, you know, on your everyday, day-to-day basis. And then you have formal clothes, or the clothes like, you know, a suit and a tie for men, or gowns for women when you go to a wedding or to a party. Okay, so this is basically how to describe appearance. So that will do it for today, guys. I'll see you next class. Have a good one.